Your greenhouse doesn't fail at lunchtime. It fails at 3:40 in the morning. Welcome to rudeinsect.com.
That is the painfully accurate hour, isn't it? Everything looks fine at bedtime. Then, right before sunrise, the basil turns black. The lettuce edges crisp with frost. And you're standing there in boots, wondering why you started 20 trays of tomatoes again.
In this test, the setup was pretty normal backyard grower territory. Zone 5 winter, an 8x12 greenhouse, twin wall polycarbonate, gravel floor, benches, water barrels on the north wall, and a healthy dose of overconfidence.
Which is honestly the perfect test. Not a commercial greenhouse, not a glossy catalog fantasy. Just a small greenhouse that has to survive real wind, real cold, and real gaps you forgot to tape.
So the big question, if someone has power in the greenhouse and wants the best greenhouse heater for 2026, what would you actually buy?
I'd go with the Dr. Infrared heater, DR968, the 1500 watt model, but only with a separate plug-in thermostat controller. That part is not optional to me. A 1500 watt heater is roughly 5,118 BTUs per hour, so it can help a small greenhouse, but it needs to be controlled at plant height, not up near the roof where warm air lies to you.
That canopy height probe detail is huge. If the thermostat probe is hanging in the rafters, you're basically asking the ceiling how your lettuce feels.
Exactly. Clip the probe near the plants you're protecting. In the test, the heater sat on a 16 by 16 concrete paver, about 30 inches from the nearest seed tray. That gives you a stable, non-flammable base and a little breathing room from plastic pots, frost cloth, labels, and all the crispy stuff gardeners somehow pile around heaters.
I'll admit, I like propane because it feels powerful. You fire up a big buddy and it's like, okay, winter, come at me.
And this is where I lovingly disagree with you. The Mr. Heater Big Buddy earned its place for outages, hoop houses without electricity, or emergency freeze nights. But as everyday greenhouse heat, I'd be cautious. Propane adds moisture, uses combustion, and demands ventilation and monitoring. I want a carbon monoxide detector, fresh air, clearance, and someone thinking clearly before that becomes routine.
Fair. I once used a propane heater in a shed and spent the whole night checking on it like it was a newborn calf.
That's because your instincts were working. Open combustion heat around polycarbonate, frost cloth, and dry plant tags deserves respect.
The electric Dr. Infrared wasn't magic, though. During normal cold nights, with outside temperatures in the low 20s, it held the greenhouse around 38 to 42 degrees. That's good enough for a lot of cool season crops and for keeping tender starts from disaster.
But when the northwest wind found every little leak, the heater ran hard. That's the lesson people skip. Don't buy heat for a sieve. Tape gaps, block drafts, add thermal mass, use row cover inside the greenhouse, and then choose the heater. Water barrels help, but they're not a force field.
What about the cheaper options? Because somebody is already eyeing that little ceramic cube heater from the garage.
I know, because I've done it. The ceramic cube technically heats, but in the test it blasted one narrow stripe of hot air, dried out the front row of spinach plugs, and made the thermostat short cycle when the warm air hit the probe too soon. Cheap heat can create weird microclimates.
The oil-filled radiator sounds safer to me, though. Gentle, quiet, no fan.
Gentle, yes. Too gentle for fast recovery. Open the greenhouse door on a cold morning and it takes its sweet time climbing back. I'd use one in a very well-insulated small space, but not as my first pick for a leaky 8x12 winter greenhouse.
And the wall-mounted infrared panel?
Nice if you only care about what's directly in front of it. A bench of lettuce? Sure. The rest of the greenhouse? Not so much. Infrared panels warm surfaces, not the whole air volume evenly.
So the practical takeaway is electric infrared style heater with a thermostat for daily use, propane for backup, and don't ignore the boring stuff.
The boring stuff is the harvest. Use a grounded, properly rated outlet, avoid flimsy extension cords, Keep heaters off gravel and up on something stable, like a paver. Place the thermostat probe at canopy height and give the heater space. If you can keep that 3:40 a.m. temperature above the danger zone, you're winning winter.
And maybe start fewer tomatoes.
You first.
Not happening.
Thank you for listening to this edition of RudeInsect.com, Conversations with Grant and Fiona.